All right, I'll start us off with the prayer, which will really just be a song of words that you all know. Elohim, Ata Rishon, Ata Echad, Ve'en Sheni, Ata Ha'alef, Ve'gam Ata El Gibor. So, God, you are the first. You are one, and there is not a second. You are the beginning, you are the end. Aleph, Ad, Tav, A to Z. El Gibor, this is technically in a smichut, a god of warrior, but it's you are the warrior god, or you are mighty God. Sing along with me. Elohim, Ata Rishon, Ata Echad, Ve'en Sheni, Ata Ha'alef, Ve'gam Ata El Gibor. Od Pa. Elohim, Ata Rishon, Ata Echad, Ve'en Sheni, Ata Ha'alef, Ve'gam Ata El Gibor. Any questions on that? All right. So I'll send that out. It'll be 27 new vocabulary or whatever. It'll be a PDF if you're interested in finding words to that again. All right. Turn to chapter 1, verse 13. Yiska, Kirti, Ad Ha'ana, Velo Yachol.
To the Achka. Vayach teru ha'anashim le'ashiv el ha'yavasha.
Ve'od Ad Ha'ana.
Velo yacholu.
Tov. So the Atnach is under Yachol.
Okay.
Tov. Lemuel, Kara ad sof ha'asuk, until the end of the verse.
Ki ha'am holechet by soer aliham.
Tov meod. Mi chatar. Mi chatar. Yuval. Ha'anashim chatar. Tov. Tov. Ha'anashim chatar. Ish chatar. Ha'anashim chat. מי יודע?
חתרו.
האנשים חתרו. טוב, האנשים חתרו. איש אחד, הוא חתר, הם חתרו. Lama chatru ha'anashim. Lama chatru ha'anashim. Yoel?
האנשים קצרו להשיב אל היבשה.
טוב. עוד. להשיב. מה שם הבניין להשיב? הוא פעל, קייל, הפעיל, התפעל, נפעל. נוח. מה שם הבניין להשיב? מי יודע? הפעיל. פעל שב ישוב, הפעיל השיב ישיב. פעל לשוב, הפעיל להשיב. Remember for these, you know it's infinitive because you get the lamed. And then the infinitive is the yigdal form minus the prefix. Or shav yashuv, lashuv. And then for hifil, you actually you replace the prefix with a he. So heshiv yashiv would be hashiv, would be the infinitive plus lamed, lahashiv. And then remember the difference between shuv is just someone returns, lahashiv is to return something. Now it's lo katuv, it's not written what they're, right? Because it's a hifil, it needs an object.
So they're, in a sense, they're returning the ship.
Totally.
Not they are returning.
Yep. So that's sense. Exactly. So it's just understood. Lehashiv et ha'onya el hayabasha. עוד שאלה, האנשים יכלו להשיב אל היבשה? פסקה, האנשים יכלו להשיב?
לא, האנשים לא יכלו.
טוב מאוד. למה לא יכלו האנשים להשיב? ברוך, למה הם לא יכלו?
כי הים הולך CR all
טוב מאוד. כי הים הולך וסוער עליהם. על מי הים הולך וסוער? על מי? מלאכים. טוב, הים הולך וסוער עליהם. מי הם? טוב, על האנשים. כי הים הולך וסוער עליהם, הם האנשים. טוב מאוד. יש עוד שאלה על הפסוק? That's all of mine. עוד שאלה? is a long one. Yoshiahu קרא Gemara, Kiri Od text box. And then you'll notice Ad has a kef hakaton at the end of that, the 2 dots above it. So that's the 1/4 mark through the verse.
Ana Adonai Alna Loda Nefesh Haish Hazeh.
Ha'anashim chafetzim lovad. I was going to look this up. Lovad. It sounds weird to me. Lovad. But I didn't look it up to see if that's indeed the infinitive form of lovad. 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 Ha'anashim chafetzim lovad. Chagit. או האנשים חפצים למות?
לא.
לא. הם קראו ענה אדוני, על נא נובדה. or על נא נובדה. הם לא חפצים לבד. אם האנשים יאבדו, למה יאבדו האנשים? קשה, hard. אם האנשים יאבדו, למה? מי יודע? כי יונה. בנפש יונה. בנפש האיש הזה הוא יונה. And then I point out that this is an instance of where ba is causal. It would be translated because.
No, that's
Novda. What tense is that? Katal, participle, dictal, imperative, infinitive. It has that sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Has a kametz hey at the end. Anybody remember that? What that's called?
This is cohortative.
Cohortative, yeah. So it's called a cohortative. So the infinitive form would be avod, ivdi, ivdu, avodna. That would be the imperative. Imperative can only be second person, because you can just command other people to die. But if it's like us, may we not die, then it's your regular yikdal form, novad, anachnu novad, plus kametz he, novda. Is comported as the $1 million answer.
Oh, I'll get $1 million.
Another thing that I've never said in class, so when you have the speech frame, Vayikra'u el Adonai vayomeru, when you have two vayikdal forms, it's not they cried out and then they said something, like it was like, blah! And then they said, Adonai! But what they say is them crying out. So this becomes really important when God blesses Adam and Eve and he says to them, what he says to them is the blessing, be fruitful and multiply. So it becomes, interpretation becomes really significant. whenever you have two vayikdal forms, when it's whatever it is, and then vayomer, what the speech act is that first one. You could bless and say, you could command and say, you could pray and say, on and on. Od Sheila?
I have a question. I mean, the first part of that second box, it's, the way I've interpreted it is please, Yahweh, and then no, please.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a funny way of saying it. I mean, but to emphasize that, is that something that's an idiom, or to do it that way? Or
A little bit. We wouldn't really necessarily stack pleases in English, right? Please, God. Please let us not die. I mean, if you pause a little bit, you can say please again. But yeah, I mean, they're just begging. Owen? Go. Turn the page, and that's 114b. Baruch Kara Ad Ha'atnach. That's the first text.
Va'al Titan Aleinu Aki.
Chagid Kir'i Ad Sof HaPasuk.
To the end.
Mm-hmm.
Ki echad Adonai
Opa. Ki
Ocha.
Ata.
Ki ata
Mm-hmm.
Adonai
Mm-hmm.
ka'asher hafatzta asita.
Mm-hmm. Tov. Ulai yiten Adonai dam aki. Ulai. Anashim enan yorim. Ulai yiten Adonai dam naki. Al mi, tov, ve'al titen aleinu. Mi anachnu. Al mi yiten Adonai dam naki. Mi odea. Mi anachnu. Anashim. Ki hem karu ana Adonai. Al titen aleinu dam naki. Now the second half, it could be read as two clauses or one clause. You could read it because, here's the two clause interpretation, because that's how I read it to you. Because you are Yahweh. And then what does that mean? You being Yahweh? Just as you desired, you've done. So, or it could be them just addressing God. Because you, Yahweh, even as you desired, you have done. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
And it becomes, there is an interpretation payoff, whichever way you take. If you take the two-clause approach, them declaring to God that He is Yahweh, and then what they follow up with that is their understanding of what it means that He's Yahweh. You are Yahweh, which means you have this kind of sovereign freedom. That what you did is what you wanted to do. And that's all entailed with you being Yahweh. Or it's just one statement. You, Yahweh, have acted sovereignly, and you've done what you want. If you wanted to decide which one to go with, you would probably have to do some searching with Ka'asher. And syntactically how it can be used. I lean towards the two-clause approach, because you are Yahweh, which means even as you've desired, you did. But I think you definitely can read it as them just addressing you, Yahweh, have done as you desired. Or you, as you desired, you did. עוד שאלה? מלאכי קרא את כל הפסוק, all the verse, 115.
וישקו את יונה, ויצילהו אל הים, ויעמד וימית הים מסעפו.
טוב. מי נשא את יונה? מי נשא את יונה? האנשים. מה הם עשו? אל הים? טוב. אני שאלתי מי נשא את יונה? מלאכי ענה האנשים. אני שאלתי, מה הם עשו? כי הוא נשא, הם נשאו. הם נשאו את יונה. עוד שאלה. אחרי האנשים נשאו את יונה, מה הם עשו? יסקה. אחרי האנשים נשאו את יונה, מה הם עשו?
האנשים עשו
עוד פעם?
האנשים עשו הים.
אל הים.
אל הים.
טוב, אל הים, ומה האנשים עשו? האנשים שמו יונה על כיסא? או הם שמו את יונה אל הים? מה הם עשו? הטילו. טוב. ויטילו. הטיל, יטיל. הטיל, הם הטילו. מה שם הבניין? ויטילו. שם הבניין, פעל, נפעל, הפעיל, התפעל, ויטילוהו. הטיל, יטיל. Hipil. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. I said being beyond diagnostics, when you're in the, when you have a yickel or bi-yickel. So here's the first root letter and here's your prefix. If you have a cleric, then that's a paul. If you have schwa, that is a pio, like yavakesh, yachale. What's that? If you have hatak, then that's hifio, like yashlich. That's the name. So, but this one, I said it's a hifio, even though it has a schwa under the yoke. Vaitilu. So the diagnostic for this is hifio verbs have a cleric yod between the second and third root letters. Well, turns out this is one of those biconsonantal verbs in the hifio, like heshiv, yashiv, hevi, yavi, hetil, yatil. And so it will be between that tet and the lamed. You're expecting it'll be a cleric yod. All you see is a cleric. So you don't see that yod from the hifio. But that's the general rule of thumb, that anywhere you can get a cleric yod, you can get a cleric. So they can write it as the vowel letter or just the plain vowel. Why did I make such a big deal of that? Is there a related pa'al verb that you don't want to get this mixed up with? No, it's only a hifio verb. But I just wanted to just refresh you. So, אחרי האנשים הטילו את יונה אל הים, מה הים עשה? מה הים עשה? יובל. מיזבו. טוב. הים עמד מזעפו. Miz'afo, that could just be a noun. If like za'af was a noun, which actually I think it is, it could be from its rage. But it's evidently a verb, which means this is an infinitive. It's an infinitive, so it's from its raging. Is, if you wanted to be precise about miz'afo. So, 116. We just have 10 minutes. Root. Kara kir'i ad ha'at. Text box cut.
Yahu, ha'anashim, Yireya, Yira, Gadola, et Ana.
Good. Ha'anashim yar'u yir'a ketana?
No. Yira, Gadola.
Et mi yaru ha'anashim. Ha'anashim yaru et Baal, et Adonai, hem yaru. So, Rivka, kiri ad sof ha'pasuk.
Vayis Baku Zavak La Adonai Yid Aru Nedari.
Ma zavhu ha'anashim. Ma zavhu ha'anashim. Lemuel. Ha'anashim zavhu Yonah.
No. Adonai.
L'Adonai. Dov. Ha'anashim zachu zevach l'Adonai. Vayidre'u nedarim. Baruch. Ha'anashim nadru neder echad o nedarim rabim. טוב. אולי שני נדרים, אולי רבים, חמש, רבים. עוד שאלה? על הפסוק? יואל, קרא עד האתנach in 2 verse 1.
ויאמן אדוני דא גדול לבלוע את יונה.
טוב. מה מינה אדוני? מה מינה אדוני? קציה. Go. מה שם הבניין? וימן. וימן. פעל, פיר, תפיר. מה שם הבניין? מי יודע? מרים, את יודעת? פייר! פייר! ישוע תחת היוד. General rule of thumb, one good diagnostic is, if under the yod, is chirik, pa'al, shwa, kiel, patach, ifil. Here, you get the schwa, it's a PL. Your best diagnostic is if the middle root letter will get doubled. It'll have the dagesh chazak. But this is mina, yamane, and it's one of those third yod verbs where the ending drops off in the vayikol. And so then the nun stands at the end of the word, vayman. And when you double a word, what that means, if you double a consonant, what that means is one of those letters ends the syllable and another one begins the next syllable. That's what doubling a letter does, gemination. And here, if it's the end of the syllable, you can't double it. So that's why you don't have your dagesh chazak in the nun, because it ends the word.
The verb barach
Mhm.
is a P verb.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it sounds like a pa.
Ah. Lo barach. That would be pa'al. Berach. Berach. I mean, you're used to bikesh, right?
Right.
Bikesh. What happens is the resh rejects the dagesh chazak because your gutturals, aleph, ayin, hey, chet, and resh can't double in Hebrew for whatever reason. They don't like to geminate any of those sounds. And so instead of doubling it, they compensate by lengthening the chirik to a tzere. You can tell that it's you can tell that it's a PL, especially here. There's a schwa under the yod.
With a pa, it would be yivroch.
Yes, yeah, it would be barak yivroch. Good. Lama mina Adonai dag gadol. Lama mina Adonai dag gadol. Yoshia.
Adonai Tov.
Oh. Sipa, another reason?
La Bola Israel.
Uh-huh. Here, I'll give you a little clue. Whenever I ask a llama question, 99 times out of 100, I've got my bullseye on a key clause or an infinitive. Because remember, infinitives, especially if they have a lamed prefix, are many times purpose infinitives. So God appointed a great fish in order to do something, in order to swallow Jonah.
Key out of my
Yuval, Tira ad sof ha'asuk.
Shlosha, Yamayim, Vai, Shlosha, Lalot.
That's my timer telling me that we've run out of time. Are there any questions on this one? Or on each of the next ones? Yeah.
I just had a question in regards to, I don't think we were assigned to read the page where Jonah spits, or the fish spits Jonah up, but you had a question about that.
Okay.
And so I just kind of wanted to make sure that like we're on track with like what we did with the weird verses this week compared to what, because I know we're saving the prayer for the last few months.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Yeah, so the homework packet should have read 1:13 to 2:2, which is Vayipaya Yona and Adonai Elav Mimei Hadaga, and then it picks up 2:11 to 3:2. And then my audio recording should have had all that material. The video should have had all that material. So I believe
Oh,
I believe everything I sent you had all that material. And then you're correct. We are skipping the prayer itself. And then we'll come back to it at the end of the semester. So we are on track. So tonight we'll pick up in 3 verse 3.
And then, did you want any other questions for the rest of it?
Yeah.
What's the secondary speech frame?
Yes. So secondary speech frame is lemor. Wherever you get lemor. So yes. So primary is when you have vayikra, vayomer. You have 2 finite verbs, vayikra, vayomer, or two vayikdol verbs in a row. Secondary speech frame is lemor. Where, what does that mean? I believe I must have pointed you to the place where I explain it, but what it means, if it's a primary speech frame, vayikra, vayomer, yeah, 2 vayikdol verbs, what it means is it's word for word recording the whole speech of what they said. Lemor, many times it can be a condensed version, like he said a lot more, but these are the highlights. So that's basically what it means. I have a chart where I give a few different distinctions between primary and secondary, and I refer to it in the homework packet. But just because it's secondary and it's maybe more of a summary, it doesn't mean it's unimportant. Many times those words are especially important because it's what the narrator chose to include.
Which
So,
word did you say was
lemor,
indicative of this primary one?
vayomer, or amar if you had just a katal verb. So if you have 2 finite verbs. At finite, I mean anything that's not participle, not an infinitive, is a finite verb. And if they're both speech verbs, like, and he blessed and he said, what I was talking about before, that would be primary. But lemor is secondary.
So like in verse 1:1.
1:1? Yeah. Yeah. So it's either God said a lot more to Jonah, or it can also mean this is something that maybe God said to him repeatedly. It can be many different, or it can be many different speeches kind of summarized. Yeah. All right. Let's look at the new verbs, or words. Mahalach, malachim. This is a trip, a journey, a walk. You can tell it's related to a verb you know. Halach, halach, yeah. It's one of these many nouns that's derived from a verb with a mem prefix, like mishpat is from shafat. Mahalach. Nepach, this is an overturned table. Nepach yinafech is a nifal verb that means to be turned over. Has this passive meaning, to be turned over. So Jesus, he turned over tables, hafach, pa'al. The tables were turned over, nepach yinafech, nifal.
So nifal is passive, is that always passive?
Only if there's a related pal verb.
Okay.
Yeah. So neokam is nifal, but that is you fight, me, I fight. But this is definitely passive. So if there's a related pal verb, the nifal is the passive of that. If not, all bets are off as far as what it can be. Som, somot is a fast. So no food. Sak, sakim is sackcloth. Sak. So that's nice.
Yes.
I was saying one of the hard parts about Hebrew is there's no derivatives as there are compared to Greek. But here's one. Sak. Aderet. So we've used the aderet lots of times, but I've only called it a beged. From here forth, it is aderet. A robe. Ether is ashes. Ashes. So the aftermath of a fire.
Dust is afar.
You're right, yes. So I have it written here. Afar, dust is with an ayin. Ether is with an aleph. Modern Hebrew has gray, afor, and it's related to this.
And what does it mean?
Gray.
Gray.
Yeah,
So
afor.
style
Like just the color, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this color is afor. He is ik, gaz ik. It's an ithial verb, means to make a proclamation. We've actually encountered twice za'ak, yiz'ak, to cry out for help. But it means something different when the king does this. In Jonah, he is making a proclamation. What it entails is he's causing someone else to cry out. So he makes a proclamation, he sends out his messengers throughout Nineveh, and they give the declaration. So he's causing them to say these words. It's kind of the sense of it. Ta'am, it could be the noun taste, somehow can also mean decree. How exactly, semantically, those two things overlap so that they can be referred to by the same word in the language is a little bit beyond me. So in the story, we're using it in the sense of decree. Behemot is just livestock. Your four-footed, domesticated animals, whether they be sheep or horses or cattle or donkeys, any of that, behemah. It's just livestock. Bakar, so you've learned par, I think. Par, parim. Bakar is a lot of parim. They are bakar. Cattle.
A herd? Or like
Yeah, or cattle. But yeah, herd, because in English you can have a herd of lots of different things. But cattle is a very good English equivalent. Now I said ta'am, the noun can mean taste or decree. Ta'am, the verb, means to taste. Be'uma, nothing. Hitkase, yitkase. So you know kisa, yachase, to cover. Hitkase is to cover yourself. Hitkasa. Hitkasa means to cover yourself. So it's not a flashcard verb.
No, the previous one, there was nothing, and it also means anything.
Yeah, and this is just because in English, you can only say anything in English if you negate it earlier in the clause.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're kind of flip sides.
the nothing where you're at, like, no to be found, anything. Yeah.
Chozka, you know chazak, to be strong. Here's the noun, chozka, strength. Hamas means violence.
Hamas means violence.
Yeah.
Is that where they get the word?
No.
Unfortunately.
Hamas is not.
Yeah, they're actually not related.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes it really, easy to remember. Kaf is just the palm of your hand. It can also be palm of your foot. Actually, it can also be like the inside of a cup. But I mean, it refers to palm, and it can have some extensions to it. Charon, this is the last one. Vayichar, off Bilam, and the anger of Balaam was kindled. Vayichar, Charon is the related noun verb. Burden. So, all right, take a 10-minute break.